I, 27 female and bi, and I was born into a strict and religious family. When I was 22, I was dating a woman and some concerned citizen told my brother, now 35, was 30 at the time. He told me he knew everything and he gave me an ultimatum to tell our parents or he would. I begged and cried for him not to, but my parents disowned me and withdrew their financial support for college. I had 1 year left. It took me an extra 3 years to graduate because I had to drop down to part-time so I could work all the while couch surfing and barely making it by, as almost all my earnings were going to school. It was tough, but I made it. He has a tween daughter, my niece. Her mother died when she was only a toddler, and my brother has been a single dad, dated here and there but didn't find the one. He contacted me out of nowhere, saying his daughter is aching for a female adult figure in her life, especially since starting puberty. I suggested our mom, but my niece doesn't feel comfortable with someone old. He never apologized or acknowledged what he did, he just said God commands us to forgive, and he's willing to overlook my transgressions. And I said, even God doesn't forgive without sincere repentance. Read your Bible. They cut me off and my life has been better without them. I know she's innocent in all this, but I don't want my family back in my life, especially my brother after what he did. I hate him, but if I'm in contact with my niece, I'd have to be with him and my parents. They're a package deal. Am I the idiot for refusing to mentor my niece because my brother caused my family to disown me? I know she's innocent in all this. She is, but your brother is her baggage and he made your life a nightmare by outing you to your parents. You don't ever have to let someone like that into your life. You are not the idiot. His daughter is aching for a female adult figure in her life. Maybe if he worked to no longer be an idiot, he could find a new woman. He didn't need you and he outed you. He needs you now, so he wants you to forgive and forget. Ugh, stay away from users. Maybe I'm too jaded, but all I can think is that OP's brother is the type who doesn't really want his daughter to have female companionship, he just wants a free babysitter. I hope his daughter isn't too scarred by him, but no partner deserves to have to deal with someone like him. Poor kid lost her mom and has a bigoted idiot for a dad. I feel for her, but OP needs to protect her peace and leave the toxic ones behind. I think the niece could benefit greatly from hanging out with her aunt if she correctly identified her father as an intolerant bigot, as many children of conservative people do. Don't get me wrong, OP still has no obligation here, but I've seen too many teens caught in these religious cults, dying for a lifeline from someone not drinking the Kool-Aid. Tell him that you're more than happy to take your niece to a pride parade, and see if he's still willing for you to mentor your niece after that, since he still calls you a transgressor. Agree to only spend one-on-one time with niece and try to pull her away from the terrible indoctrination she was born into. Teach her real-life values, compassion, acceptance, and actual facts of life. Give her resources to see how hateful her family is so she doesn't grow up to be like them, and she knows she'll have support should she decide to walk away when she's older. Good luck. My dad cheated on Mom for years. During his affair, he let me down many times too. He'd plan stuff with me, and if his affair partner was in town or available, he'd drop me without a word. So when the truth came out, I was angry as heck with him. My younger sister was more forgiving and continued to have a relationship with him. The affair was revealed because she was pregnant. She lost that baby. They ended up getting married, and 2 years ago they had a child together who I never met. A few months ago they both died. A social worker contacted me and my sister to see if one of us would take her in. We were left until last because they wanted older bio relatives first, but none of them wanted her. My sister asked if we could raise her together. I said I wasn't getting involved and told the social worker I wouldn't raise her. My sister, who's only 19, stepped up. Some things needed to happen first. She dropped out of her college classes, she was working during the day and going to college at night, and she needed to move into a 2-bedroom place instead of the 1-bedroom she was in. She also needed to get some background checks done, but she passed and she has the child. Now she's having a hard time with childcare. She knew I wouldn't say yes, so she asked our mom, begged our mom. She told Mom if she loves her, she'll help her, and she'll start opening her heart up to her little sister, who is part of her girls even if she hates our dad still. My sister laid on a guilt trip to her. Mom said she needed to think, so she called me and told me she didn't want to do it and that she hates the thought of having that child in her home and caring for her. but she knows it will ruin her relationship with my sister if she doesn't. I told her she shouldn't do it, that she wouldn't be a good fit for one, but she would also be miserable, and while my sister might not hate her, she could end up resenting them both. She agreed with me and told my sister she wouldn't watch her. My sister called and asked if I had anything to do with it. I played dumb and said I didn't know what she meant. She said she knew that was a lie because Mom was so close to doing the right thing, and suddenly she's firmly no. She called me the C word, a witch, said I was heartless, that one day she'll tell our little sister everything and make me face up to my rejection of her and my lack of care for her. I told her I owed the child nothing and that I wouldn't apologize for telling Mom to do what she wanted. My sister then said I was cold-hearted and cruel and I didn't seem to care about her either. I told her I couldn't pretend to give a damn about the child Dad created with his affair partner and that she would rather me stay away. She said it didn't mean I needed to push Mom to refuse to help her and that I was still an idiot for that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your sister made her bed, so she's gonna have to lie in it. She has no right to drag you or your mom into this and act like she's entitled to your help after giving herself the ball and chain for a baby born out of an affair. And your 19-year-old sister is ruining her future by taking care of this child, without any support. How on earth did the county let a 19-year-old adopt an orphan that, by doing so, effectively shortchanges her future to clean up Dad's affair? Neither the child nor the adoptive parent, who is 19, are best served by this arrangement. Your sister had no idea what she was getting into. She probably wanted a cute baby. Now she regrets it. If your mom had agreed, I can guarantee she would end up being the full-time caregiver. Everyone's the idiot here. First, that was not an affair child. She was born in your father's second marriage. I'm sorry that the resentment you and your mother feel for your father has trickled down to an innocent child who has no one in her life but your other sister. I do agree that if you both hate her so much just for being born, you shouldn't take care of her. Go to therapy, and maybe one day, if it's not too late, you might find in your heart to rebuild a relationship with your other sister, if not with her. If you can't find in your heart to let go of the past, please stay away from her as you do, since you will only poison her with your hate and shame her for something she has no fault in at all. Wow, your sister is probably grieving too. You weren't close, but your sister did see your dad, and it's probably a bigger loss for her than you. She's young, she's hurting. She didn't think this through. And your baby sister? You didn't ever want to meet or know her or even give her a chance? How terribly sad for both of you. It's not her fault how she was conceived. You have every right to hate your dad for what he did, but hating and resenting your baby sister is just evil. I, nearly adult female, am a very nervous driver. I hate driving. My sister, a teen, likes going out with her friends, so I have to drive her. She hates seatbelts. She scoffs and rolls her eyes and calls me a wimp because for some reason she thinks she's invincible. She never wears hers, no matter what. There have been times when I won't start the car until she puts it on, and she just unbuckles it as soon as I start driving. I even pulled over and refused to drive again until she buckled, and she took her seatbelt off ASAP. 2 weeks ago, I was driving her and her friend to the movies. On the way, there was something on the road. I don't know what it was because it all happened so fast, but it was something big, likely something that fell off of or out of a car. I hit the brakes and changed lanes. My sister went flying and slammed into the back of my seat. She wasn't hurt at all and everyone was safe, but I was shaking the rest of the way. When the movie was over, I refused to go pick them up and my mom had to. For the past 2 weeks, I have refused to drive her anywhere and my parents have supported me in this. She's missed hanging out with her friends multiple times because my parents were busy or just didn't feel like driving. My sister loves lacrosse. She loves her team, and it's really important to her. She has a super important game Friday morning. My parents couldn't drive her and asked me to drive her this Monday, but I told them I would not drive with her in the car. They told my sister that she was responsible for finding her own ride. She said, okay. It's now Thursday night. The match is coming up and she mentioned me driving her. I said, absolutely not. She said I was her ride. I said, there's no way. We argued and eventually she cried and begged, promising me she'll wear her seatbelt. She can't find a ride now, she doesn't want to let down her team, etc. I told her if she flew through my front window in a car wreck and ended up in the hospital, she'd really let down her team, but she didn't seem to care then. She's absolutely devastated. Her whole team is upset with her, plus her coach. I know she's learned her lesson by now and she'll absolutely buckle, but I'm just so angry with her because the only reason she's listening is because she has something to gain. I just keep saying that this is what it would be like if she had gotten seriously hurt and couldn't play. My parents are really upset with me and told me I have to drive her, but they're out of town so they can't do anything. They spend time and money on her lessons and equipment and games. It's a short drive and I have to suck it up because I can't ruin something so important for her. Worse, the nervousness has dissipated. I would feel comfortable driving with her because I know she'd buckle, but I'm standing my ground. Am I the idiot if I don't take her? Not the idiot, OMG, horrifying. She had her chance and she blew it. You're under no obligation to drive her. She's on a team. She can find a ride with someone else. Doesn't anyone carpool anymore? Or call Uber or a cab. That's what they're there for. I know for a fact that Uber and many cab companies will not, under any circumstances, take a child to a destination alone. There are just too many risk factors involved these days. In most states, the driver is at fault when a passenger doesn't buckle up. Your sister's BS bravado act is stupid and dangerous to begin with, but she's putting you at risk as well. She apparently needs to learn big girl lessons the hard way. If I could make a suggestion, maybe try to give her one last chance by driving her there, but tell her that if at any point in the drive she takes her seatbelt off, you'll turn around and bring her back home. If she's really changed, she'll show you, and if not, you're back to where you are now, and she misses the game. I could be missing something, but I don't think it would hurt. However, you have the final say and should do what makes you feel comfortable. Absolutely not. What a distraction for a driver to not know from moment to moment if their passenger is going to unbelt. Sis has made herself undrivable. Unbelievable stupidity. She's had plenty of time to make alternate plans but chose not to because she thought she could get her way. She fully deserves this punishment. My male 30, ex, female 28, broke up with me 4 months ago to take a job overseas. It sucked, but I dealt. She left behind some stuff which is still in storage and her dog James. She's had James for 12 years. I only made his acquaintance 6 years ago. We're bros. James was very cool with staying with me. He's used to my apartment and my neighbourhood. I made sure to keep his diet and routine the same because he was an old fussbot and would whine if I got him a treat he hadn't tried before until I tried to take it away. Then he'd snatch it up and run under my bed. Unfortunately, he got a twisted stomach. He was an old dog and the vet said that the surgery would be expensive and that there would be no guarantee that James would wake up. I cried my eyes out and asked the vet to please send James over the Rainbow Bridge. My ex's mom saw me the other day and asked about James. I told her what happened and she said she was sorry, but she also called her daughter, who then called me to call me a petty idiot for putting down her dog to spite her. I hung up and blocked her on everything. I did everything I could to keep him happy after she left. I didn't do this to hurt her. I did it because I thought it was the right thing to do for James. I could have contacted her to pay for the surgery, but she takes days or weeks to get back to me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She left an older dog you clearly loved in your care when she left the country. He was your dog in every sense after the breakup. It's amazingly narcissistic for her first thought to be that you killed her dog out of spite, or whatever, to hurt her. You're blessed to have gotten out of a relationship with her. I'm deeply sorry for the loss of your beloved pet. You are the idiot. You should have tried to call her, ideally when the vet gave you the options. Clearly her mother was able to get hold of her. Why the heck are so many people saying she abandoned the dog? Depending on the country, it can be really hard to bring in a dog, and the travel and possible quarantine can be incredibly stressful. An elderly dog may not survive it, and I'd hate my beloved pet to die in a quarantine facility. The ex probably did the best thing for the dog by leaving it with OP, who also loved it. Leaving a dog behind while you move away is basically abandonment, dude. What else would you call that? It doesn't matter if he was old or young. A twisted stomach isn't a condition. You can wait days or weeks until you deal with it. James was fortunate that the OP recognized there was something wrong and took immediate action. Price or not, you made the correct choice. You chose a humane, peaceful end. You didn't let him suffer. He was your pet, not hers. Let her be a petty idiot. She wasn't there to make the hard choices. You were. My friend and I went out to dinner recently in Italy, where we're visiting, where we sat next to a table extremely close to us. It consisted of a group of 4 Americans, so they were obviously on holiday together as well. As soon as one girl from their group left for the bathroom, let's call her Hannah, the other 3 friends started immediately talking crap about her. Some examples include calling her ditzy, annoying for crying while they were abroad, failing a class at school, and talking with negative connotations towards her having intimacy. One of them asked to be told when Hannah was coming back so they would be warned when to stop bad-mouthing. My friend and I immediately felt very bad for the girl and agreed we wouldn't want to be in a lifelong friendship with people that secretly hated her. We decided we wanted to let Hannah know the situation before we left. As we were leaving, my friend verified that Hannah was the girl in question they were referring to, and I proceeded to let her know what happened while she was in the bathroom and told her I would want someone to tell me if I were in her shoes. One of the friends of Hannah immediately started yelling, saying, "You don't know crap about crap." Hannah seemed grateful that I told her. My friend and I headed out immediately afterward. They seem pretty young, so it's likely Hannah is probably sharing a hotel room with some of these people currently on her international trip, so I feel bad she has to deal with that. However, in my position, I would rather deal with having an awkward end of my trip with the knowledge that the people I'm with hate me, so I can cut them off, rather than unknowingly staying in their lives. Am I the idiot? Well, you should have taken her aside and said that. Instead, you just set flames to the situation and left a poor girl to sort it out. The problem isn't that you told her, the problem is that by telling her, you threw her to the wolves. You have no idea about what she loses during the confrontation, yet you impose your decision on her. Who paid for her trip? Does she have a place for the night? If not with them, can she return home safely? Your actions put her in a potentially risky situation because you couldn't be bothered to think one step forward. So you are the idiot for doing it in front of her friends. OP, now what? She has to stay on a trip with these people after a big blow-up. Also, let's be real. People get annoyed with each other when traveling. I've traveled with my best friend quite a bit. I'm sure I've crap-talked him. In fact, I know I have. But there is context with everything. I crap-talk him and he annoys me, but I still love the guy. You eavesdropped on a part of a conversation with no context and decided to cause a mess that you aren't going to have to deal with in the aftermath. You just threw a grenade into the group and left.